Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
All right, make it 5 consecutive losses for the Edmonton Oilers. This futile road trip continues. Maybe a better effort tonight, but at some point it's got to be about results. And once again, the Oilers on the wrong side of it. Quick strike offense from the Panthers in the third period creates a deficit, too much to overcome, an emotional loss for the Oilers. And this losing streak is now at 5. First time in a few years it's gotten this bad as far as consecutive losses go. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. We have so much to break down, and we're going to get to all of it. As always, the show brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gambling partner for all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta's cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make the game more interesting. Deposit today. You get a $50 free bet with the code GYB. Now, this will be as of the 1st of March, it'll be GYB03, but as of right now, it's still GYB02 for another day. Visit playalberta.ca. I am coming at you from the Adrenaline Diesel studio. It's a Caterpillar recognized and authorized dealer, Adrenaline Diesel is, and a repair facility as well. For expert service for your Cat engine, visit adrenalinediesel.ca. All right, Jason Strudwick on board. Zuby is at the controls. We may check in with Rob Brown depending on how long his post-game show goes. And then we're going to hear from everybody on the stream. They're fired up on the stream tonight, Struddy. 5 games, man. Not just, this team has higher standards than this. There's no question this has been a bad dip, buddy. But that's just got to feel brutal piling onto a plane, taking another loss in Florida, 5 in a row. Frustrating for this team, I would imagine, man.
Yeah, so there's 2 stories here. One, the team would be frustrated to lose 5 in a row and really haven't played well at all until tonight. And so I believe if you squint, you can see the light down the tunnel. I think that this is we've bottomed out and we're coming out of it. There was a lot better things happening tonight. The chances, the glorious chances against weren't there as much tonight for the Oilers. There was more guys on board. So I'm calling it right here, guys. We can see the light down the tunnel. They've hit bottom and are now resurfacing to get some fresh air. Write that down.
The big man has called it. So next up, the Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina Hurricanes.
And Perfect. The Carolina Hurricanes. That game's set to go on Saturday. Good opportunity for them. They're not messing around. That's a heck of a good team. Lots to break down in this game, Struds. We've got lots to talk about on this show, including in our second segment. Don't know if you heard Connor McDavid before the game. Actually talked at length about his own game, where he's at, how he's feeling. So we're going to save a lot of the McDavid chat for the second segment, but lots to dig into tonight. Really interested to get your thoughts on Stuart Skinner, among other things tonight, Strud. So let's get to our breakdown, brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. The 2025 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Visit your Alberta Ram dealer to get into this award-winning truck at a competitive price. Capable, stylish, powerful. It is Ram. All right, Struds, overall better effort. That was reflected in a lot of the post-game comments. I think the players are looking to peel positives out of it, right? Because there's been a lot of negativity lately. So we can understand that. But I do think we need to start in that third period where basically it's tied. You come out tied, and Stuart Skinner has had a decent night. He's made some nice saves. He's made some clutch saves. He's done his thing. And then that third goal happens. I didn't love the third goal. It's a good shot, but it's point blank. I'm not going to pile onto him for that one, Struds, but I feel like you need a save there. And it ends up in a situation where, again, the other guy makes a real nice save at the other end on McDavid, and bang, it ends up behind Skinner. It's got to be deflating for him and the team.
Yeah. So I mean, let's talk about the play. The leading guy pushes the D man back and is throwing back a little bit to Nate Schmidt. So Skinner's maybe thinking it's going to come from one depth, and now it's throwing back, and he's got to readjust. I don't think he was completely set. And Nate Schmidt, not a noted goal scorer, shoots it far side as a lefty, and it goes barn in. And I do feel like that's the shot that, although what I went through could be, it's unsettling for a netminder, I think that's a save that it would be, it's a savable puck. I'm not going to go out and say it was horrendous goal, but I believe that's one that, it would be nice to just nick it, because it was just inside the post. But there were situations where it would change your kind of just the way that they changed the depth of the shot.
Yeah, for sure. It just felt like it was one of those ones that I know he would have loved to have made that save. They needed that save in that moment. But then another one right after that, Carter Verhaeghe. What did you make of that one, Struds? Obviously, it's a bit of a goofy bounce, but I feel like a bit of a theme we've seen is on some of this left to right movement. Skinner's left to right. He seems to be struggling a little bit with that. And I'll even go back, and Zuby, you can weigh in here too. I'll even go back to the disallowed goal, Struds, where he kind of pushed off, but then had to push off again to get the rest of the way across. It feels like his mobility, flexibility, lateral movement has just been a little bit off. And I think we saw it on the disallowed goal. And I think even a little bit. I know it was a tough bounce. I'm not really blaming him, but I also didn't love the way he looked on that last one. Is that fair, or is that too hard on him?
Yeah, so I think we have to include Ekholm in this conversation. So Carter Verhaeghe's coming down, and Ekholm does a good job kind of staying up, pokes the puck. It goes off of, as Carver's kind of shooting, it goes up, hits his tummy, and then drops down right in Verhaeghe's wheelhouse. I think that threw Skinner off. I don't think that's a really bad bounce. Now, that being said, I think I would like to see him push over and just close that post off, because it seemed like I think he decided I'm just going to set up shop here, and then guessing that the puck was still more to the left than it actually was, but it was more to the right, and Verhaeghe gets and tucks it in. The flip side, I'd like to see Ekholm tie up a stick there. In that moment,
for sure,
you're unsure where the puck is. As a D man, I've got to tie up that stick, and by tying it up doesn't mean you have to outmuscle him, but lift it up so he can't get the puck. And I think Ekholm was looking for it and unable to get two hands on a stick, and then it's there. So this is a combined D and goalie challenging goal, where I think that both of them could have made something different happen, and it would have resulted in a goal, because it was really a nothing play off the rush.
Yeah. Zuby, any observations there on what we've talked about here so far with Skinner?
Well, I think you nailed, I think it's worth noting, obviously, that left to right push, the disallowed goal, that one, and the wraparound, the other, against Tampa, that we didn't like the push on, was left to right as well. So there's something to that, I think. I don't know exactly what it is, but It seems like a point of where he's struggling a bit right now.
All right, let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. We'll do the ad read in a minute here. I just want to get to Stuart Skinner. He was chatting post-game with Tony Brar on this courtesy Oilers Plus.
I feel great. Feel good mentally. Super excited to keep playing. I was really excited to play tonight. So I feel like my headspace is in a really good spot. I'm ready to rock and roll. Whenever my number's called, I get pretty excited to play.
It looked like you were making some key saves throughout, some pretty key movements throughout this game, and then all of a sudden it takes a deflection and it beats you. How frustrating is that to kind of battle through within 60 minutes?
Yeah, it is pretty tough. It's tough to they're good NHL goals. Those goals are going in on a lot of guys. I think, I went up to Cal and I was like, every time they score, you just hear the post. It's just kind of their luck, I guess, for the night. Goes off guys' skate perfectly onto the post and just trickles in. Same with the first one. And so third one. Yeah, that's the frustrating part sometimes, is you're working so hard as a team, and bounces like that happen. But that also goes into the way that they play. They put so many guys in front of the net. Guys go hard at the net. They always present sticks, always present problems for teams. So, and that's why Florida knows how to win.
Okay. Yeah, that's why Florida knows how to win, because of the pucks, the players they get in front of the opposition net, the way they present their sticks. Yeah, they do a great job 200 feet from Skinner. And that's why the Florida Panthers know how to win. Yeah, that was an interesting observation at the tail end of all of that. I don't know, Strut. Like, I'm kind of beating around the bush here a little bit. And Stuart Skinner is a positive guy, and he needs to maintain a positive mindset. I'm never going to judge that. I'm never going to have an issue with that. But I think if you're going to lay a whole bunch of kudos on what the other team's players do a great job of in front of their goalie and say that's why they know how to win, you probably could also mention that you maybe needed another save tonight. Am I overthinking that? I didn't love the combination of those two things.
I got the sense that he was more talking about what they're doing in front of him, not so much in front of their
Sorry, that's what I mean, in front of him.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why I said the other end of the ice. Yes.
Yeah,
He was talking about what a great job the Panthers do in front of him, and that's why they know how to win.
No, I'm like,
sorry.
Did I misread that completely? I was like, that's the second time I've heard it. Maybe
that was my bad.
I really no, I got it. I was just second guessing myself.
That was me.
I mean, this is who Stu Skinner is, right? He's pretty level-headed. Even after a great game, I think he's pretty level-headed. I think you could address the fact that and just say it. I think I could make one more save tonight would have helped my team, right? I think if they kept them at 3 goals, Oilers probably win this one, right? 4-3. So I do believe that, saying that is fine, or was something he could have done. But I think, in
fairness, Struds, he was asked, what about you? Where are you at right now? So that was the question. Nobody said, how'd you feel about the third goal? So in a way, Skinner's just answering the question that he's presented. But then Struds, when he did start to go over all of the goals against, he was like, yeah, that third one, huh? Like he at no point did he kind of say, yeah, would have liked to have had one of those or would have liked to have had one more. And then he goes on to compliment the Florida players and all the amazing things they do in front of the net, why they're so good, and that's why they know how to win. That was an odd combo for me in that answer.
Yeah, so a trick that I used to use is when a member of the media asked me a question I didn't really want to answer, I'd just answer the question I want to answer. So I'd say I can get my message out there, right? So I think that it's fair to say that Stu, that there are some goals he'd like back over the past while here, the past number of games. And so I think instead of talking about what he's seen in his own game at times, he's just going to talk about the other team. And I think that's a way of deflecting some of that energy away from his own situation.
Yep. Man, it's a stress-filled, pressure-filled position. So I'm not going to be too judgmental of a guy having the language in his head that he needs to have for him to stay in the headspace that gives him his best chance. And Skinner has more often than not been the guy that comes out and goes, yeah, I got to have this. I have never sensed a lack of accountability in him. And I'm not even saying that's what there was tonight. I just didn't like how in one answer you can kind of breeze over the goals and not mention, yeah, I probably could have had one, and then heap praise onto the Panthers and how good they are in front of the net and all the great things they do, and that's why they know how to win. For me, that was a little bit off. But again, it's Skinner's always very available. He speaks his mind, so you hate to criticize a guy when he comes out and speaks his mind. I just didn't love that. There was some frustration at the end of that game, Struds. Like the cameras caught Leon Draisaitl just hammering the boards. Now, he was looking in Skinner's direction. I don't know if he was looking at Skinner or not, but he was looking to his left, hammers the boards, goes off extremely angry. Like I sensed a ton of frustration towards the end of that game. By the way, no understanding why Skinner didn't go to the bench.
Yeah.
Because if Skinner would have gone to the bench, the extra attackers in the offensive zone, and that puck that gets knocked into the middle of the ice, there's an extra body there to be fighting for that puck. So I have no idea why they either didn't call him or he didn't go.
I'm not in the building. I wasn't on the ice. But as I watched it in real time, my impression was that Leon said something to Skinner because he didn't come to the bench to add the extra attacker. On the play, if for those who didn't see it, there was seconds left, like 13 seconds. The puck went right, it went straight up, and Leon, they broke through, and they're going up the ice. As soon as you see that, I'm guessing there might have been a conversation where you're like, okay, if we get going up the ice, you got to come out. You got to come up being Skinner so we can add the extra attacker. I know there's only 13 seconds left, I think, but he can still get up there and get a chance to score. So again, I might be way off, but in real time, I felt that Leon looked over his shoulder and would have said something to Skinner there. That again, I wasn't there. I have no idea, but that's
we're
that's
not
what
there.
I felt.
Yeah, we're not there. We don't know. The other thing that happened is Skinner also looked to his left, like almost to look at whatever Draisaitl might have been yelling at. I think Perry might have too. So it was kind of like, it almost looked like if it was Skinner, maybe he didn't know or whatever, because he kind of looked to his left too. So we're not going to put words in anybody's mouths or anything like that. It was a tense moment for sure from Leon Draisaitl, and understandably. I mean, the guy's had this team on his back. He's been giving it everything that he's got, including a ridiculous Herculean goal against one of the best defensive defensemen in the game. And there were passengers tonight. Chris Knobloch was not afraid to point out that there were passengers tonight, although he did not get specific about who. So let's get back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Weiss Johnson's offering 10% off any new furnace before March 1st. So make a call. Get one ordered. If you need to replace your furnace, mention you heard it on our pod when you book your estimate, and you'll receive 10% off your new furnace price. Visit weiss-johnson.com today.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
All right, here is Chris Knobloch on overall his team's play.
It's by far our best effort. I think the guys competed really hard against the walls around the nets, and I thought we had some pretty good performance by some guys. But to get out of a funk like this, when things aren't going well and guys are really feeling it or really squeezing their sticks, we need everybody. And I felt that there was few passengers. There were some guys that just didn't put in the effort that we needed, but for the most part, I think most of the guys did pretty much everything they could. I don't want to say I think Stu played a heck of a game. He made some big saves, and I look at the 3 goals that they got. The first one went off Kulik's backside. The other one off their skate, and then the fourth one, I think we defended it well, stick on puck, and then it just bounces to where he's going. But the way it's going right now, we gotta make our breaks, and just unfortunate. Like I said, I think a lot of the guys played well, played hard, did everything they could, but a couple not so much.
All right, buddy. I'm going to probably point fingers, and you can guess as well because he didn't name specific names. Adam Henrique was -2, Connor Brown -3. That line, I think, Janmark -3 there as well. You had Kapanen with 8 minutes. I don't know. I mean, I might even point to Nugent Hopkins too, Struds. I just think, man, there was a play early on in the game. Nugent Hopkins takes the puck off the rush on the right wing. Just absolutely stopped moving his feet. Could have easily made a play towards the net. Just dropped his shoulder and cut towards the net. Maybe you draw a penalty. Never even crossed his mind. Literally just stopped skating. And then ended up mishandling the puck and fired a weak little sort of backhander at the net. Ryan Nugent Hopkins needs to get a little bit greasy here. It's been a little while for this guy. So not the competitive level needed early on in that game there. So I'm going to throw him on that list too. I hated that play, and I've seen that way too much from him, man. You got to get to the middle of the ice and pay a price. But who do you think he was talking about?
Yeah, I think those would probably be pretty fair just based on kind of their goals for and their goals against. That's usually a reflection of maybe a rougher night. On the whole, I felt like today there was more guys attacking the Florida Panthers net. And I think that's really important to note. You think about some of the goals we saw and just getting up the ice and getting there. I think that the easy route is to take the puck outside and not to get to middle of the ice, but you've got to get more to middle of the ice. And I think that, Nuge is a guy, when he's clicking offensively, I think he's getting shots from the inside the dots. And I've said this about him a number of times, and he's not the only guy. Most players have to score from inside the dots. There's very few Ovies that can blast one-timers from on the goal line outside the dots. So they need more of that. And I think more guys are on that. But, watching Janmark, watching Henrique, I'd like to see those guys get to the blue paint. Just get to the blue paint, right? Get pucks to if you're going to use the D, that's fine. Then get to that blue paint and really kind of make that game harder and uglier for the other team to defend. And that'll open up other opportunities for, not that those guys are looking for fancier plays, but there'll be more opportunities to score out of those areas.
Yeah. On Nuge, he'll go there if that's where the play ends up. He'll get there. What he won't do is take the puck there. He will not take the puck to the middle of the ice himself. Everything is on the outside. Everything is curling away. Everything is, I'm just trying to think of times this year where Nugent Hopkins has made even a remotely hard play to the middle of the ice, challenging guys, forcing guys. Everything is the easier path to the outside. And they just need more from him. If he's going to be the guy that plays on Connor McDavid's wing, they need a different level of buy-in from him. He needs to hit top gear way more often than he does. He cruises around in like third or fourth gear most of the night. How often is he like balls out all you can handle? Mm-hmm. And I understand he's a more reluctant, kind of an elegant player, but I would just circle him as one of those guys who needs to look around and go, man, this team needs something. Leon's given us everything he can. First time ever McDavid is struggling in a way like this. Like, take it on yourself. And that's just, you're just not seeing that from him. I mean, even Hyman, I think, needs some of that. Now, his energy level to try and find it, I'd say, is a little better than at times what we see from Nuge. It looks better, but similar for Hyman in some ways here, Struds.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying. And I what I'm talking about is it instead of, let's just talk about they already have possession in the offensive zone. Instead of passing it from the corner up to your D-man, try to attack the seam. At least force the D-man to think that you're going to attack in there and the defending team. And that's what I'm talking about, driving it. And I'm going to go back to the Four Nations. When you remember the gold medal game, I mean, it was Brady Tkachuk's goal where Austin Matthews had it behind the net, and whether he was trying to pass that puck, I think he was, but he took it from there and just drove it to the net, and then from behind, and then literally shoveled it in front to Brady Tkachuk, who hammered it in there. And that's where you create chaos. So you got to drive the puck there, and it is hard, and there's a chance of getting hit. But I don't think that they're fearful, and I don't believe that at all, actually. But it's just a harder path, and you have to look for opportunities to squeak in there. You know who does it really well is Corey Perry, but Corey has to, because Corey's not going to beat you off the rush. Corey's not going to beat anyone off the rush at this age, and he's still playing the league, which is incredible. But think about how many times he just takes it to the net. I'd like to see all those guys I just named, and in fact, all the fours, just take it to the net more often. And I think you'd find that it's a simpler game, but it opens up opportunities for pucks laying there and misread or mishandles by the D.
All right, let's get to our UCAN Youth Services Relentless Player of the Night, and we will remind you their annual Comedy Night fundraiser is almost here, coming up here in mid-March. And a couple of ways you can help support the youth in our community. You can purchase tickets or a table for one of these fantastic comedy nights, donate items or experiences to be featured in the silent auction. Your support makes a huge difference. So to donate or grab tickets, visit ucan.ca. That is ucan.ca. Who do you got tonight, Struds?
Well, first back-to-back winner. The goal that Leon Draisaitl scored against that D-man, Gustav Forsling, that was incredible.
All world.
If you didn't see it, he steps over the blue line. Gustav Forsling, who's a really good defending defenseman, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later. And Leon just kind of slows down a little bit. And then he takes a half step and literally throws Gustav Forsling on his back like a backpack, like a grade 6 student would walking out of his class, and just tosses them back there and says, "Excuse me, just stay here. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go tap this puck in," and proceeds to go short side shelf on Bobrovsky. It was an elite goal, and it just absolutely tossed that guy in his back. That was a thing of beauty, Shaggy.
And he was tired too. I think it was only a 50-second shift, but he had burned through some energy already. So he was wiped when he got to the bench. You could see he looked tired on the back check before the transition. And then just an all-world power move to the middle, his ability to elevate, like, that's something else, man. And other guys on the team need to look at that and go, look, they might not be able to necessarily do that, but the fundamental idea is take the puck to the net, challenge, because good things happen. Maybe you draw a penalty. Maybe you get a shot on net. Maybe there's a rebound. Maybe you create a ruckus, or maybe you just, have a little more gumption in your game when you make a powerful play that's a little daring. Like, more guys need to be willing to do that. Fantastic goal there by Leon Draisaitl. One last time here, this segment of the Weiss Johnson Soundbox. Brett Kulak on, how much it sucks to keep losing.
You can't start pointing fingers in the room. We've been through a lot together, and you don't start blaming guys, wishing this guy did more, that guy did more. I think you just look yourself in the mirror and you look on past success personally and as a team, and you just got to find what works again and find your spot and just everyone come in and play at your best.
Yep, Brett Kulak, always very measured with his words, very calm guy. I think they love him in that room because of that. He felt their game was okay tonight. Basically said they scored a couple more goals than we did, but otherwise he was happy with their game. Zuby, hop on in here, buddy. Let's get our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll up and running. Are you fired up for the upcoming golf season? New 2025 equipment from TaylorMade, Ping, and Callaway arriving at DeBoer's. Get ahead of the fitting rush and schedule your appointment today, located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Might have to get down there and grab some new wedges, Struds. I was 90 today in the sim, and I think the wedges were failing me. So it's clearly the equipment. I got to go see Scotty, get him to wedge me out a little bit.
I got to say one other thing about that Leon goal, too, from a goalie's perspective. He's a left-hand shot. He's on his backhand. When he brings it to the forehand, then you think he's going to go short side.
Cross.
Moving, he's going to the far post. For him to move it to his forehand and then go up short side, that's crazy. I mean, that was an incredible goal. That's why I think Bobrovsky, part of why he even looked as befuddled as he did, because you almost don't think that's possible. Okay, let's get to our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. The question tonight: what does this team, the Edmonton Oilers, most need to add at the deadline? Lots of people chiming in already. They said, I'd say all of the above. I will get to them here, but that's why I'm making them decide. So here are the four options. The first is a scoring winger. Second option is a depth forward with size and speed. Third option is a top four D-man. And the fourth option is goaltending depth. Those are your four choices tonight.
All right. Sounds good. Okay, we'll be back. Ask Us Anything, where we will give you the results. Rob Brown's chirping you on the poll here, Zuby. He's like, hello, call me. Oh, I'm ready. So Brownie is waiting to jump in.
I'm in the middle of something, Brownie.
Come back. Yeah, we're busy here, Brownie. Come on, relax. Lots more ahead here on the podcast. We'll chat a little about 97 and where his game is at right now when we come back.
Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
Okay.
I like your remixes, Zuby. This one isn't my favorite. Musically, I'm not as big a fan of that remix of our theme song.
It's taking it. It's all that's there is the bass line, kind of. It takes it in a completely different direction.
Yeah, a little bit.
You can hear the bass line, though.
Yeah. No, but if you got another one, hit us with some more remixes. Did a great job grabbing some Got Your Back remixes. All right, let's get to takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Canadian born, Canadian made. The 2026 Skidoo model lineup is here. If the mountain is your canvas, carve your path on a new ride next winter.
The 2026 Deep Snow Sleds ride effortlessly through the trees on your way to the highest of the peaks. Visit Martin Motorsports today to choose from the features that will create your perfect ride. Visit them at their 2 Edmonton locations or online at martinmotorsports.ca. Calm down, Brownie. We're going to call ya. Didn't need multiple texts. And then I like this. So it says, call me at 8:46. And then at 8:50, hello, says Brownie on the group text.
Yeah,
A little impatient. Feels like you got things to say tonight, Brownie.
I was bored. I'm in the car by myself. Got no one to talk to. I miss you guys. It's been a while. Sometimes I feel like I'm left out. I don't know what's going on. Want to be part of the game.
Yeah, well, you're here now. You are here now. So Struds and I just broke down everything from Skinner's game to what went wrong tonight. Chris Knobloch, if you heard the clip, talked about there being some passengers. Yep. So we were speculating on who that might be. Maybe let's just start. Like, what is your headline for the game, Brownie? What were you first wanting to hit on?
They were much more competitive. They were just much more energy in their game tonight. Twice they fell behind early in the game and they rebounded very, very quickly with good shifts. This was a much better hockey game by the Edmonton Oilers. Now, still big mistakes, and we'll probably get into that. But I just think this was the first time since the Four Nations Cup where the Edmonton Oilers had a competitive game where they actually came to play. And tonight I felt they did.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I just so you know, my headline was that they've already hit rock bottom. Now they're trying to resurface, right? I think they're starting to come up after seeing that. I think the Saturday will be a good game down in Carolina. But my question for you is this. You know, I made the point, I believe the Oilers forwards have to make a point of taking the puck to the net more often, whether it's off the rush or specifically in the zone, rather than just deferring to pass it to the D-man. Is that possible, and do you see the same thing?
Well, that's what they need to do. Look at, they have 2 players, well, they have 3 players that do that, and it would be their 3 best offensive players. Leon Draisaitl does it all the time, and we saw that on his goal. Connor McDavid does it every time he tries to go straight to the net, and most nights he's successful, and then Zach Hyman will drive to the net. The rest, they have a lot of perimeter players, and what we know about the National Hockey League is the goaltenders in the NHL, you don't score from the perimeter very often. You need to get to the blue paint to be a goal scorer. And when you start playing in the playoffs, the others are going to have to go through LA. They're certainly going to have to go through Vegas. Big, strong, physical defensemen. They'll let you stand on the outside all night long. If you want to score against those teams, you got to get to the blue paint. So 100% Struds. Too many times tonight, Oiler forwards had the puck and decided not to take the puck to the net. They decided to stay on the outside, and you're not going to have success if you do that. You just aren't. Go to the net, A, you can get a scoring chance. B, you can create chaos, which creates a second scoring chance. C, you can get a power play out of it because someone dragged you down. There's no bad thing that can come of taking the puck to the net. It's only positives. But it has to be in your DNA, and I don't know if all the other players have that in their DNA. And that's one of the reasons they're finding themselves on the wrong side of the scoreboard, Struts, is they're just not taking the puck to the areas they have. They're losing the battles in the blue paint in both ends.
What did you think of Stuart Skinner's game tonight, Brownie? And did you hear his post game?
I didn't hear his post game. As for his game, he had 3 weird goals scored on him. He had the weird deflection that went off Kulak. He had the one that went off Ekholm, then back off for Hagee, then drops right like in the perfect spot. But the one people are going to be talking about would be the Nate Schmidt one. It's funny, the goal that was scored on him, I talked to a buddy of mine who's a coach, and he works with young players, and he works with goalie coaches. And they all talked about this one spot on goalies now that players are picking apart, which is right where that puck that Schmidt shot. When you go into this butterfly, he says that's the spot that is open, and players nowadays are so good at shooting. If you give them time and space, they'll hit that spot. So the problem on that one was an absolutely horrific line change by the Oilers' best players, turned it into a 4-on-2, 5-on-2, and Nate Schmidt scored from the outside. Now, what did I think of his game? He needed one more save, but he gave them enough saves. They're just giving them – just too many scoring chances against. But eventually he's going to have to have one of those games we've seen opposition goalies come into Edmonton where they make 48 saves and they steal the game or at least steal a point. The way the Oilers are playing defensively right now, Stuart Skinner or Calvin Pickard are going to have to do that, but we have seen nothing from either one of those goaltenders in the last month that tells you they can do that.
Yeah, and that's problematic because you want to believe that your goalie is going to be able to do that. You know your goalie is going to have to do that at some point in the playoffs to get to where you want to go. At some point, they're going to have to steal you one. And Stuart Skinner has done it before. He's done it before. He's just feels like he's a long ways away from it right now. Yeah. Okay, Brownie, the other thing we were going to chat about tonight is Connor McDavid and his game. Gregor had a real solid tweet today, sort of outlining some of the stats. This was coming into play tonight. 8 games, no even strength points coming in. And outscored 10-0 at 5-on-5 over his last 6 games. So McDavid tonight ends up with an assist, a couple shots on net. But I think we all know that his game hasn't been anywhere close to where I'm sure he would like it to be. He did some media today. This is a little bit of a longer clip. He was chatting with, sounded like might have been Steve Simmons who was there, I think potentially along with Speck, interviewing Connor McDavid earlier today. Here's some of those answers from McDavid on his game.
It's getting back to what I do, wanting the puck, taking guys on, being assertive. I mean, there is definitely an element of physicality that always helps me, but that's not necessarily running around hitting guys. It's winning battles and keeping the puck alive. So
is an assertive Connor McDavid, I don't like using the word selfish, but does he maybe shoot where a less assertive McDavid looks off and passes?
Again, it's just getting back to what I do, and that's creating offense, and as I said, wanting the puck. If I'm not touching the puck, it's usually a sign that I'm not playing very well. So the more times I touch it, it means I've won more battles, been around it a little bit more, just haven't been around it enough.
Are your numbers anywhere near what you want them to be?
Obviously, the year hasn't gone the way I would have loved personally, but we're not after personal success. So, the team's playing well, had been playing well, and that's all.
You put standards on yourself.
Of course. And, I wish I was playing better. I wish I had played better all year, but ultimately, again, that's not what we're after, winning games is more important. We haven't been doing that lately, so we've got to find a way to do it tonight.
All right, some nice, transparent talk from Connor McDavid. He doesn't often talk at length about his own game like that, so, I thought some really good comments there. Brownie, starting with you, what stood out there? What do you think?
Well, it's funny. Whenever our job is to analyze hockey games and analyze hockey players, and we try to do our best from afar to tell what we see. Analyzing McDavid is hard because he's different than everyone else. He's 4th, I think, in the National Hockey League in scoring, and we're talking about the fact that he's struggling and he's not as good as he is, and he needs to be better. Again, he's 4th in the NHL in scoring, and that's with missing some games. He'd probably be 3rd. But what I loved about it, everything that we would try as analysts and commentators to say about Connor McDavid and his game, he just said it. I mean, there's nothing that we can say about McDavid's game any better than what he just told us right there. He was honest, and all players are really in tune with what they're doing on the ice. If they're playing well, if they're playing not well, they know. You don't need fans telling them. You don't need coaches. They know. Connor McDavid knows where his game is at. So if you were to say what's going on with McDavid's game, I'll tell you, he just told you right there. And it was as good an explanation of where he's at as a hockey player as could possibly be, right from the horse's mouth. He has not been anywhere near what Connor McDavid's capable of doing. and he knows it.
What stood out for me was the fact when he talked about the physicality. And he said, not necessarily hitting, but it's when I'm winning puck battles. And I do agree. He's a digger. He does dig. But I think it helps him and the team when he lays, a hit on a guy, especially kind of along the sidewalls of the rink. Not so much behind the net running a D-man, but when someone's kind of dumping in, he just run it. And I feel like when he does that, it adds a shot of energy into the team and a shot of energy into him. So I'm not asking him to go and run Mikko Rantanen next game, but I would challenge him a little bit to that parallel hitting beside, on the sides of the walls of the rink. I think that benefits him greatly.
Well, he's got 8 hits in his last 13 games, and his hit totals are down significantly, less than half, I think, what they were on pace to be last season. And the other thing too about it, and it shouldn't be on him to have to do this, but when he does it, I think it's harder for other guys not to follow suit, right? When you see Connor McDavid finishing his checks out there, and he does it playoff time, I think it's hard for other guys not to. But back to your point, Struds, about maybe he's wanting to make sure that he's a little bit healthier come playoff time. Mm-hmm. And so laying back on the physical side of things a little bit this regular season, which I couldn't necessarily blame him for. But yeah, I think, when it's not going the way you want it to go, what things can you do to just try and build little moments of momentum? And I think McDavid is not immune to that same idea, Brownie. Finish some checks and put some guys off balance and, maybe just get the juices flowing in a bit of a different way.
Well, every player, when they throw a good check, it gives them energy. It does, whether you're a guy that does it 10 times a night or a guy that does it 10 times a year. When you throw a big check, it electrifies the crowd, it gets your bench going, and it gets you going. And the thing is, when Connor McDavid hits someone, he hurts them. That one of the hardest hitters I've ever played with was Jeremy Roenick. He's about the same size, he's not big, but he was so strong a skater and had such great balance. When he hit someone, he went through them. That's exactly what Connor McDavid is. And we've seen some of his hits in the past have hurt players because he's so physically strong. He drives himself through it. So, yes, it's a difference maker. Now, again, it's regular season, and I understand what Strides is talking about. And we do see physical Connor come playoff time. But sometimes when things aren't going well, and we saw Corey Perry tonight, get out of your comfort zone, do something a little different. Maybe this is a game, as you said, Strides, against Carolina. Be physical. Throw a hit early in a hockey game. And what it does, it tells the opposition, I've come to play tonight. And there is no team in the NHL that wants to see Connor McDavid announcing himself as, yeah, I'm on it tonight. So first shift next game, go out and hit someone because it'll send a message.
To your team, too. I think it sends a message to your team. And it gets you fired up. Like how the big man's going, I got to be going. And that's what a captain has to do. That's leadership at that level.
Yeah. Corey Perry goes out, finds a fight, barely played through the rest of the game. Like he started to get some more minutes a little bit later on, finished with 924, plus 2 on the night with a scrap and didn't really play a lot there, Struds. I'm not sure if, I don't know. I think he left the penalty box. I don't know if he was hurt. Maybe he hurt his hand in the fight. I don't know exactly what was going on there, but I know it was a close game into the third period, so you're not wanting to mix your lines up too much. But I don't know. Was there an opportunity to maybe mix Perry in here or there, maybe on one of those shifts coming off a penalty kill with the 2 big guys, or like he was on the ice at the end of the game? Why not maybe reward him for what he did earlier on in the game? Because he kind of got lost in the shuffle there.
Yeah, I think it was a case getting lost in the shuffle because you just made the point. He was on at the end of the game. And so, you don't put untrusted players on at the end of the game. And now he took a penalty. And I do believe that was a penalty. There was the Ekholm tripping was, I thought that was just a really, really rough call. But I do believe that was a penalty on him. So I think that this was a situation where he got lost in the shuffle. They were trying to get themselves going. And sometimes that happens. Unfortunately, when you're on the fourth line, even if you're playing good, you get lost in the shuffle. So I wouldn't read too much into that because he obviously values him, Brownie, because he's on at the end of the game.
Well, it's funny. The one thing that we've talked about, and I talked about on the pregame show, is the Oilers have got to get more into playing the lines together, quit mixing them up, allow them to find some chemistry. Now, if you do that, players like Corey Perry and guys on the fourth line, you won't get as much ice time because they didn't start flipping around, pulling Skinner off and throwing Perry up, or pulling Arvidsson and putting Perry up, or putting Kapanen in here. They actually went with their lines for long stretches. So that's where Perry got lost. But he was out at the end. He was hanging out in the right spot in front of the net, pulling a defenseman away. Unfortunate penalty, but one of those ones, Struds, if he doesn't take that penalty at the end, Forsling probably shoots it down into the empty net and the game's over anyways.
Fair point.
It was a tough. But the Oilers took too many penalties tonight. If you're playing Florida, you can't take 6 penalties and have a horrible line change. You're not going to beat them. So they still shot themselves in the foot tonight.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Although the flip side to that is the penalty kill definitely got itself sorted out. Like they had some good moments tonight, some excellent kill moments. I thought Stetcher for stepping in all of a sudden. I thought, I thought he did a pretty good job tonight, especially on the penalty kill, Strud. So some good moments for the PK. We'll let you wax on for a moment since it's your favorite child. Your cherished son, your baby.
The reason I value it so much because I think it's such important to the part of the Oilers' identity. I think that their bottom 6 gets a lot of energy out of that. And when they're not getting it done, I think it sucks life and energy out of that group. So I think honestly, guys, I think after that performance for the guys that got that PK done, I think we'll see a better version of themselves come Saturday.
For sure. Brownie, can you figure out why Skinner didn't go to the bench at the end of the game?
No, and that's what I'm wondering when Leon wasn't happy at the bench. In all honesty, I probably would have pulled the goalie before the face-off. I would have went with an empty net in my own zone. Simply trust your centerman to win it. Now you got 5 guys out there. So I probably would have had an empty net right before the face-off even happened. But B, as soon as that puck takes off over the blue line, it's got to be a sprint to the bench because I don't understand why. I don't know if he was told not to by the coach, if he decided no on his own, but 100% Skinner should have been going to the bench as soon as the puck left the zone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe part of it too is you got Draisaitl getting thrown out of basically every draw and was 32% on the night. You got Connor McDavid at sub 50%. It was not going great for the Oilers. So I'm okay with leaving him there. Because, best case scenario, you win the draw and you end up on a rush up ice with possession of it in the offensive zone. All of those things happened. He just never went out on the ice. He just never went to the bench. And had he gotten to the bench, there would have been an extra player probably in the middle of the ice where some of those puck battles at the very end were happening, Brownie. So I thought that was really costly because they really could have used an extra man in that scramble at the end, especially in the middle of the ice.
Oh, 100%. It made no sense that he didn't go. I mean, that should have been discussed. As soon as, 100%. If you're putting him in the net, okay, as soon as the puck goes north, you're sprinting. Because in all honesty, if the puck goes out to the neutral zone and you sprint out and Florida gets it and shoots it back in, they score, didn't matter. As soon as Florida got control of the puck and shot it back into your end, whether it went in the net or not, the game is over. It's about 5 seconds. So as soon as the puck went north, he has to be sprinting out. And I can see if that's what Leon was frustrated about, I can certainly see the frustration. It's like, how are you in the net? Like, seriously, how are you still in the net right now? You were supposed to be out because it actually worked out for the Oilers. They lost the draw, and it worked out, and they got the puck in the offensive zone, but it was a 4-on-5, and they just got outnumbered.
How about Evan Rodrigue tonight? 8 shots on net, 13 attempts, 60% in the faceoff circle. Didn't have any points, but I was just looking at the event summary. Like, man, they're, some of their, with Tkachuk out of the lineup, right? Guys got to step up. I got a nice night out of him for sure. Okay, real quick here. Where are we at on Klingberg, Struds? I feel like it hasn't been great the last few games here. Like, this is sort of sliding in the wrong direction for a couple of games here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that he looks like a player who hasn't had his best games in a number of years. And, we're running out of runway here for the decision to be made. I think if I have to evaluate right now, I would say that the Oilers are still needing a fourth defenseman or that guy to play beside Darnell Nurse. Right now, I cannot say that he's that guy. With the puck on his stick, I like the way he makes plays. It's without the puck at times that he looks like he's unsure of his game.
Brownie?
I agree, Struds. I agree. I think that he's looking like, I like how you said it, a guy who's had his best years behind him. That's a really good analogy of it. To me, he looks like a third pairing right defenseman, and serviceable. But if you're up a goal with 10 minutes to go in the game, you're a little weary about putting him on the ice. So yeah, I agree. They need an upgrade on Klingberg if they want to beat the LAs, the Vegas, the Colorados, the Dallas, the Winnipegs. I don't think he's the answer that they were hoping for. It was worth the shot, but I don't think he's trending in the right direction.
I'm not sure at 1.7 million it was worth the shot. I thought if it was a league minimum, $1 million, something like that, maybe it's worth the shot. Yeah. But the 1.7 million was really steep. And now that's just sitting there and it's limiting them. So I understand it. And at the time I was good with them coming in, but I think we raised our eyebrows at that 1.7 million because the whole risk reward situation changes a little bit. The calculus changes at that number. So we'll see what happens. By the way, guys, Struds, do you think they need a right shot second pairing defenseman? Like they can't bring in another right shot guy. I mean, their next three guys are all right shots between Klingberg, Emberson, and Stetcher. I mean, isn't it playing Kulak up on the right side in the second pairing and getting a left shot guy?
Oh, that's an option, but then you don't have your pure lines, right? You don't have your pure left, right. So, I mean, that's an option. And honestly, that's probably the way they got to go. Yeah. You can add a guy easier in that third pairing than you are in the second pairing. And we should there was no Nurse tonight. So that second pairing was kind of non-existent.
Yeah. All right, that was Takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. When we come back, we're going to have Struddy's World. We will have Brownie Points taking a lap. We'll look at what else is going on around the league. Ask us anything as well, where we'll get lots of your comments in. So stay with us. Lots still ahead here on Got Your Back.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
I feel like my headspace is in a really good.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
All right, time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments, where if you can dream it, they can make it happen. A truly customized building experience. They've got you covered. Every house is unique. Every customer is like family. See what you can dream up together with the fabulous team over at Timberhouse, where they make you priority number one as the homeowner. Timberhouse.ca is the website. Big guy.
I've spoken at length about how I love to create creeks in the water to get the ice water away from it. But a part of that also is keeping your car clean, right? The car wash. I love going to a car wash. God, it feels good. When you're wheeling through, you get your gas, then wheel into the car wash, and the guy, you just go through the automated one, and it feels so good. It feels like you're scrubbing away all your sins of the recent weeks. Then the part I love is the blow dry, the Brazilian blowout, I like to call it. And I take all 60 seconds of that minute. Every 60 seconds. I had experience yesterday, guys. I didn't think I was going to share, but I need to. For the first time ever, the guy pulling behind me, and I shouldn't say guy, it might have been a woman, I couldn't see. They honked at me. They honked at me to get out of the way. I said, nay, I will not. I just flashed him the peace sign, 2 fingers, not one. And the guy was trying to get me to hurry up. I used all 60 seconds of that minute. That is what I paid for. When I buy that ultimate at $16.99 or whatever it is, I want all 60 seconds. So I don't know if that guy's listening to the podcast. I didn't give him the finger. I gave him the 2-finger peace sign. But can you guys believe someone honked at me as I was pulling out of there and letting that Brazilian blowout happen? Never had it in my life. Never heard it before.
I'm with you, Struds. I time it so that the very last second is just getting the tail part of my truck when I go out. I want all 60 seconds. My favorite part is when you go to this car washes and they have all the different colors soap come on. It's just like a little rainbow all over you. I love that. It's like so cool. Sometimes I go through again just to see it a second time. But yeah, unfortunately I do need a car wash right now. But yeah, I like what you're saying, and I am upset as you are that someone would force you. I mean, we know that you are a 60-second guy, so we do know that you need all 60 seconds.
60-second Brazilian. I think bigger picture here. This says something about where you're at in your life. Mm-hmm. This says something about how kind of at peace you are in your own space and in your own head. If you are somebody that has the peace of mind and the patience to use all 60 seconds at the end of a car wash, mm-hmm. I've never been able to. I never time it out properly, and I always end up out of there with like 25, 30 seconds to spare. Struds, I'm not patient. I've got places to go. Outrageous. And this is the thing. I want to be the guy that can hang in for the full 60 because I think that says something about where you're at in your life. So I respect the fact you're just hanging in there for the full 60. I'm happy for you that you're in that place in your life, and I wish I was too. I'm always out of there 20 seconds ahead of time, just wasting my money.
That I can't believe it. That actually says a lot about you. It's why are you in such a hurry? You don't have that extra 20 seconds?
It's not good. It's not good. And I need to be the guy that can just relax. I paid for this 20 seconds of pressurized warm air. I need to I'm with you on this one, Struds. I admire you.
I think everyone, Shogger, would appreciate if you took a little bit longer and got the full 60 seconds. I do believe that. So yeah. But yeah.
Shogger just described his wedding night, says Vane Moretsky. Thanks, Vane. Appreciate that. Thanks.
What I do, guys, just so you know, I use 40 seconds on the front half of my car, then 20 on the second half. So I really linger in the front. I linger in the front because I want to make sure that windshield in the front is all done. And then I don't really use it anymore, but the keyholes on the side.
Under the front hood there. Yeah.
Yeah. I take my time, boys. 40 seconds on the front, 20 on the back.
Struddy, at your car wash, is there like is there a digital display, or are you just got it counting in your head?
No, digital. No, this is a nice one.
Well, then it's outrageous that he honked if there's a digital display showing you got time left.
Why would you honk? Like, where are you in a hurry to get to?
Yeah,
and if you are in
such
a hurry, then why don't get your car washed? Like there's lineups, right? There's lineups at this time of year.
Oh, I think
I would admire the guy.
Ace 96. This might be my dad. I watched the whole thing in 30 seconds. Oh, yeah. My dad washes a car at the Looney Wash with one Looney, and he thinks if you use more than that, you're throwing your money away.
You know what? It's streaky, and I know those type of people. I judge them. There's streakiness up and down the side. The same guys use the wand, and it's just streaky.
Yeah.
Don't bother. Just let the rain do it, because that's doing the same job as you're doing with your 30-second wash.
Struddy's World. I'm feeling you on this one tonight, Struds. I respect where this came from within you, and I need to aspire to be more like you in this regard. I'll report back because my truck needs wash too. Brought to you by Timber Hoss Developments. All right, Brownie's in a cheeky mood. Brownie's in a cheeky mood tonight. Let's roll the music. Let's see what kind of twisted, demented brownie points he's bringing to the party tonight. Hamel's Premium Jerky brings us brownie points. If you're craving bold flavor and unbeatable quality jerky made with prime Alberta beef, look no further. And they got a deal for you. Buy a couple pounds of jerky for $70 and you get a free bonus quarter-pound mystery flavor pack and free shipping Alberta-wide. Visit albertajerky.com to enter the code GOTYOURBACK and that'll get you an additional 10% off. Brownie, don't get yourself canceled now. Bring us brownie points.
I won't. I've got 100 brownie points to a frustrated Chris Knobloch, who called out players tonight without naming the players, saying he had some passengers. Good for him. We've been saying they needed a little more accountability. He didn't have to say the names of the players, but he's not happy. This was the most competitive Oiler game we've had in a few weeks, and they still didn't have everyone going. That's shame on them, and good for Chris Knobloch calling them out. I got 28 brownie points to Montreal young superstar Cole Caulfield. If you haven't seen his game-winning overtime goal, go online right now and find it. It is a thing of beauty.
After the show.
A sweet goal. Yeah, after this. Not now, of course not. After the show, tomorrow morning, sometime before you have your morning coffee tomorrow. It was a wonderful goal. Cole Caulfield, a pretty goal in overtime to win it for the Montreal Canadiens over the San Jose Sharks. I got -3. I'm not taking many away today, but I'm taking 3 away to the Oilers' best 3 players. Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman. Terrible line change. Anton Lundell's carrying the puck in the offensive zone. He's by himself. It's a 1-on-2. All 3 Oiler forwards skate through the neutral zone, and they change. The Panthers, watch this. They sprint from their bench and turn a 1-on-2 into a 4, almost 5-on-2. That was the goal that Nate Schmidt scored. If the Oilers forwards come back into the zone, Lundell throws the puck in the corner. The Oilers can change. Bad line change. When your team is struggling, you can't have mistakes like that. I've got six brownie points to the St. Louis Blues Edmonton connection tonight. Broberg, 2 goals. Holloway, a goal. Former Oil King Jake Neighbors, a goal and assist. Team Canada superstar and St. Albert kid Colton Parayko, 1 goal. 6 points for the all Edmonton connection in a 5-2 win over the Washington Capitals. And the final one, Strud, this one is for you and I. 27 brownie points last night to Nick Ehlers of the Winnipeg Jets. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I watched a little bit of their game last night. Ehlers lost a skate blade. It popped out of his skate. He was on the far side of the ice. On one knee, with only one skate, he skated as fast as he could to the bench. And I'm telling you right now, Struts, he skated faster than you and I have ever skated in our lives on 2 skates. He absolutely flew across off the. I was both impressed and embarrassed that the guy on his knees with one skate was a much faster skater than me. If you can see, it was unbelievable how fast he got to the bench. I would have needed the ref to pull me across like a little kid on his belly with holding my stick. But it was quite impressive. So those, my friends, are my cheeky brownie points tonight.
All right. Love it, Brownie. Great stuff. Han Solo just chimed back in. He says, I paused the show for 5 minutes, and AI is saying the chat is now about washing your car. That's Decade of Darkness deflection chat right there. Yes, Han Solo. Sometimes you got to take it off the rails when it's a 5-game losing streak. Brownie, thanks for this, my friend. We'll catch up in a couple of days, pal.
Sounds good, guys.
See you, buddy.
All right. The great Rob Brown exiting the show. He doesn't waste any time, eh? He gone. Okay, that was Brownie Points brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Let's get to our Core Blue Liners segment now, Struds, before we get into our break here. Brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core's got your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, from creating and managing tailored health and safety programs that meet all legislative and core requirements. They support client operations every step of the way. HSECOR.com is the website. Who are we taking a close look at tonight, buddy?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good D on Florida. Gustav Forsling, though, is my favorite. I like him better than Aaron Ekblad. I'm not sure if I'm alone with that or not. Crazy story. He came over as a waiver pickup and has evolved into one of the best defensemen in the league. Yeah, it is. Bonkers. It does even make sense. But nonetheless, there he is. When I think of Gustav Forsling, I think of his positional play and his skating. He's excellent at both of those. Now, Leon Draisaitl, put him on a poster today, but we'll just look past that because he has a lot of good moments. Gustav's not a power play guy. He's got decent number of points. He's a 5-on-5 penalty killer and just consumes minutes with great play. That's what Gustav does. Right shot D, so obviously very valuable. Yeah, I just, again, good skating and in the right place all the time.
Yeah, Strud's 41-point defenseman a couple of seasons ago. 39 followed it up with last season as well. So 37 2 years previous to that. So the guy actually puts up a decent number of points. He's good for 10 goals, basically 10 to 15 goals kind of every season. Well, 10 to 13 goals every season. But the defensive nature of his game, and he and Ekblad are just such a good, solid pairing. Like the two of them read off each other really well. I really like it when those two are out there together.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I know that plus minus isn't what everybody loves, but when you're plus 30, you take notice, right? You take notice because he has a lot of hard matchups. And look, this defensive core is not as good. When you look at Oliver Ekman-Larsson leaving and then Brandon Montour also leaving, both as free agents. And those two are still hanging on. I think Ekblad's actually a free agent this summer too. I'd be floored if he doesn't stay. But nonetheless, Gustav Forsling, just one of the greatest waiver pickups of all time. At least in recent history. I don't want to go back too far, but in the last 10 years, I think you have a hard time finding a better waiver pickup.
Love it. That was Core Blue Liners, brought to you by HSE Core Services. Going to squeeze in one more quick segment here, Struds, because I'm interested in this one. I like the guy you're picking. I think it's going to ignite the chat a little bit here for our Take a Trip segment, brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross, right? Who might be getting on a plane? Where might they be going? Trade deadline is coming. So if you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, a quick winter escape, or a trip to watch your team play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too long. Check them out at ab.bluecross.ca/travel. Presented without comment, bias, or malice. Struddy's potential taking a trip. Trade potential player tonight, Struds. Who are you going with, bud?
I've been holding off this guy for a while, and I was hoping that it might play out differently for the Oilers tonight. This isn't in any way meant to ignite the Oilers fans. Jordan Binnington. So, the insiders after the Four Nations reported that, maybe they'd be open to listening to deals to Binnington. He had a good tournament, for Canada. So let's get the facts straight. 2 years left after this year at $6 million. He's won a Stanley Cup, real competitor. His numbers are okay. Just basically a 900 save percentage and a 2.82 save percentage now, or goals against average. When I think of Binnington, I think of a real competitor. He competes. He's won before. He understands what that feels like. The challenge I think they're going to have there is, the contract, 2 more years at $6 million. Blues might have to eat some. And then on the flip side, I will bring it close to home. I mentioned his numbers. Stuart Skinner's are pretty much the same as far as save percentage and goals against. And I know there's save above expected. I get all that. But just those raw numbers are very, very similar. So again, I wasn't bringing this up for him to trade, but I think that Jordan Binnington, I'm not sure which teams would really be looking to add a netminder like him, or a netminder at all at that number. But there may be some that would look at adding.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it interesting. And I know that Doug Armstrong, his players are always, you feel like they're always out there. Like, how many years in a row have we heard about Colton Parayko being out there? And, Shen's out there, and lots of different guys are out there and such. We haven't necessarily heard a ton of Binnington. This felt to me like out of the Four Nations. All of a sudden we hear from some of the insiders, that Binnington is suddenly very much out there. And so it just feels to me like Doug Armstrong very much trying to cash in at a high time for his guy, Struddy.
Yeah, and I get it. He's trying to turn his roster over, and I get it. And we've seen him do it before with some aging players and turn them over and maybe surprise time. But I just look at this, 2 years at $6 million after this year. Is someone going to bite?
That's heavy.
Maybe. I just don't know where. I don't know which team would take that on.
Yeah, 31 years of age here. I think the other thing, too, when you talk about the Oilers in the goaltending conversation, like, you got to make sure you're giving yourself a chance at upgrading. Like, I mean, we'll see what happens with Evander Kane's money here, Struds. That's still up in the air. But, like, it's going to be money out, money in if they can't use Kane's space. So money out, money in, how are you adding a goalie? Like, you're literally trading Stuart Skinner to bring another goalie in, at least him, and more guys you got to bring in. Like, you want to add even a half price $6 million goalie. Like, this is going to be very, very tricky for Stan Bowman. I mean, the fact that they just picked up a left shot D off waivers. I mean, if they don't have any money to spend at trade deadline time, I don't know. That might be part of what they're doing, is to make sure they've got a guy for playoffs, because they might not have any space here. So I know fans are really feeling the pinch of this right now, but, like, you got to make sure it's an upgrade, and you got to figure out how the heck to do it on the cap.
Yeah, no, I think in Dermott's case, I think that was a free pickup, right? Because they knew they could put him in the minors. So that's like a free depth pickup. And if in a pinch, it's fine. So I think that was kind of a free one. But as far as the rest, there are big decisions, and I can't remember which insider said. I want to say Pierre LeBrun. I might be wrong, but the Oilers don't feel that anyone we've talked about is that much of an upgrade over Skinner, and I think that's really important to note, that they feel that way. And I would tend to agree with them, right? I don't know if it's that much of an upgrade. So especially when you have others you might want to hit, and I'm assuming here in this case that Kane's money will be available.
Yeah, Jesse Bitts says, LOL, drop it. Kane money will be available. Hold on to your hat, Jesse. I'm here to tell you, this is not predetermined. This is not wink, wink, nudge, nudge, handshake deal. Yes, it will be available. I'm telling you, that's not the situation. I don't know which way this is going to go. There's a chance that they're able to use this money, but it is anything but a guarantee at this point. I'm telling you. So hang on to your seats, Oiler fans, over this next 5 or 6 days. We'll see how much information is even available out there. But at this point, I don't know that the team knows for certain that they're going to have that money available. So we will stay on that story. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll take a lap, ask us anything as well. Lots more here on the show. Stay with us.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
All right, time to take a couple of laps, brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, they want to hear from you. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction pros to join the Acon team and start building what matters today. Trades@acon.com is the email address. So If you're a skilled tradesperson, you're looking for work, once again, the email address is trades@acon.com, one of Canada's original industrial contractors. Struds, what else we want to look at tonight, my friend?
Well, let's take the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, that team is really struggling, and it's hard to see Sid and Malkin and Letang go through this. Tonight, they're playing the Philadelphia Flyers. Alex Nedeljkovic was the goalie. After 3 goals, he was yanked, and he was not happy. He went off hot.
Oh,
I
yeah.
went back and watched, and so he went to the bench, took his helmet off, slammed the door, and said something to his teammates. And listen, this happens. It's not like this never happens. So I went back and watched the first 3 goals. The first goal by Cates, savable goal. The second goal, shot from the point, goes off his D-man. Okay, I get it. Third goal, he kind of gets pulled out of position, and Mitchkov does a
Swimming a
nice
little, hey?
backhander. Yeah, so
He ended up swimming in his crease a bit there on that third
yeah,
one.
he was fairly far with his crease. His
Yeah.
teammates could maybe helped him out, but nonetheless, he goes and snaps. And this was the same guy who said after they lost the other night they're actually playing pretty good. Now the team comes back and they beat Pittsburgh, beat Philly, which is kind of crazy. And maybe it was a bit of a wake up call for the group. But
so to be clear, Struds, when you say he snapped. So when he saw that he was getting pulled, I believe he turned to smashed his stick and threw it into the corner when he was still in the net. And then went raging to the bench, tore off his gear, was yelling in the direction of the coach, yelling at the bench. Like, he went full snap show.
Yeah, it did. And it feels like right now he's struggling. When I watch the highlights or these guys, it seems like he's always taking some off the chin here, right? But Schauger, I'm just going to call it, that team is not good. Go back and look at that roster. They're not a good team. And I have a hard time seeing how they're getting any better. Well, for sure not this year. But anyways, Nedeljkovic just lost his mind. And it's always, I think it's funny when I see goalies get mad. but I know he doesn't probably feel the same way, Zuby, but here we go. One last one for you. Kind of interesting. Former Edmonton Oiler, according to insiders, Ethan Bear, is kind of on the block, quote unquote. So we know that last year he went into some the NHLPA treatment, trying to get some help, which he did, and he's having a really good year this year for the Hershey Bears. He makes, what have I got at, just over $2 million. So $9 million, or sorry, 900 grand on the cap for the Caps. But he's got 33 points in 46 games. And they're going to maybe try to help facilitate him getting back in the NHL so he can play somewhere the rest of this year. At 27 years old, there's still lots of tread left on those tires, and you can go on and play maybe next year. So I thought it was interesting that, the Caps might try to help get it off. Now, could they be helping themselves if they rid themselves of even half that contract? Although I guess there'd still be a little bit on there. So we have to figure out what that looks like. But they'll probably try to save a little bit of money. So maybe it's 3/4 and they keep 1/4, and that reduces their hit on their salary cap. So I think everyone would benefit if Ethan Bear was able to get an NHL on another team and they would facilitate a trade.
Yeah, I would love to see him get another crack at this.
Yeah.
And get some opportunity, right? So 24 games last season in Washington, 61 the year before, 58, 43, 71. He had the one full year as an Oiler where he had the 21 points. So there's some talent there, man. The one thing that guy was unreal at doing was taking pressure, making a smart little evasive play, and making a nice first pass. He was really good at absorbing pressure, making a play.
He sure was to the center. Like, he was really good at it. Really good. And I mean, everyone has these challenges through their journey in life. And I think that it looks like he's really got himself going and feeling good about himself. So I'd like to see him get another chance for sure. I honestly, I agree. And with Washington, they haven't had a lot of injuries on their team. So he hasn't got a chance at all to come up.
Yeah. Gord Parchewski wondering, Bear probably better than Klingberg at this point. I wonder what level Ethan Bear would have and compare that to John Klingberg. That's an interesting point. He's been playing. He's got 46 games under his belt so far this season. That was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our good buddies over at Acon. Struds, let's continue on telling the story from around the rest of the league. In our Canadian club scoreboard, the all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. Their highest proof CC Classic to date, full-bodied whiskey, Aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and a rich oak with a butter scotch finish. What else was going on out there?
Well, the one that really matters, there's a lot of games, 12 games. The Lightning beat the Flames 3-0. The Flames, had a decent trip. And in that game, we had Hagel scores, a goal, his 29th goal, of the year for it.
Did you hear? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, buddy, go ahead.
Did you hear Lomberg in the pregame interview? Did you see that clip?
I saw it. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what the question was. He's like, I love the beaches, the palm trees, but I hate those and he dropped an F-bomb on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Hate those effing guys down there talking about the Lightning. So the Panther in him still beats on.
Yeah, he seems like a really likable guy. The Lamborghini. I absolutely love the Lamborghini. Then the Utah give an absolute beating to the Wild 6-1. And in that, Clayton Keller had a 5.9. Hello. 1 goal, 4 assists for Clayton Keller. And it got a little bit ugly. A few fights towards the third period when that one got out of hand. And then lastly, we'll take a stop in Nashville where the Preds beat the Jets 2-1. And that stops a mighty long win streak for the Jets, who've been playing really, really, really well. Really well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a hell of a run. I don't know. Do you think secretly, I don't know, if I'm a coach, I don't want like a 16-game burner late in the season. I'd rather go 14-0-2 or something. Like just when these big long winning streaks feel like you're setting yourself up for a letdown. You need the odd little wake-up call somewhere in there, here or there. Not necessarily in February. I think they're fine in February.
100%.
I wouldn't like that in late March, early April.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it's a conversation you don't really want to have. You don't need it, right? Win 4, lose 1. Win 3, lose 1. Win 5, lose 1. That's kind of how you'd rather be, because you don't want to have it's just noise around the team that really doesn't have any bearing on what you do on game 83 up to 103, whatever you need.
Yeah. Looking like Vegas will get by Chicago at the time of this taping. 3-goal lead heading late in the second. Don't know if you mentioned that. And then Anaheim up a goal on Vancouver here. So probably different results by the time you're listening to the pod, but that is our scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. Zuby, why don't you hop in here, buddy? Let's get the results of the poll, and we'll get Ask Us Anything rocking and rolling.
All right, yeah, the final result, the poll question tonight was, what does this team, the Oilers, most need to add at the deadline? Like I said, many write-in votes for all of the above, but we'll also tell you that coming in first place was a top 4 D-man, 36% of the people on the stream. And this moved tonight a lot throughout the broadcast. I was watching it, and it moved around quite a bit. Goaltending depth came in at 31%. Lots of people wanted to also express, people who voted for goaltending depth, to them that meant a new starter. That meant getting a Binnington, a Gibson, a 1A. In responding to that, 17% of people said a scoring winger, and 15% said depth forward with size and speed. Over 300 votes, but the majority of the people leaning defense and goaltending, they think the offense, I guess, is less of a priority, is going to figure itself out.
There you go. Okay, if they've got space to get any of that done. All right, let's check in on the mood and temperature of the stream here, Zuby. Let's get to Ask Us Anything. Mortgages by Maria presents Ask Us Anything. Interest rates coming down, right? So making the ideal time to consolidate your high-interest loans and credit card debt potentially right now. By refinancing your mortgage, you can combine those debts into one manageable payment at a lower rate, helping you pay off your debt faster, keep your money more in your pocket. Maria Gallus at mortgagesbymaria.ca can help you with all of this, helping you refinance your mortgage and achieve financial freedom. All right, Zuby, let's rapid fire a bunch of these in. Oh, I think you're muted there, bud.
Podgolzen said in responding to Blommer, he said, we saw the governor come off talking about McDavid for 4 Nations. Guy can turn it on like a switch. Struddy, you've said that quite a bit. That's your feeling about McDavid. Do you feel like what's happening right now is evidence of that? Yeah, he can turn it off. He can turn it on. He's saving it for playoffs. Or do you think there's something else going on in his game?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I referenced the governor, I think the governor physicality is what I was more referencing than that, like him not trying to score. Like I don't think he's not trying to score, but I do think the physicality part. And I get it. And you said earlier, Sugar, like it's a long year. He's trying to save the body and have some left for the end. But I do think that physicality is important in his game. And again, I'm not asking him to run around like Zach Cassian, but I do think when he throws the odd hit, it does impact him and the team.
I'm going to grab one here from Ro Nelson. An aggressive Ro Nelson says, stop with the Kane BS. Why is no Edmonton media talking about how Jackson Bowman haven't accrued cap space when they said it was their priority, and why the kids weren't matched? So angry about the offer sheets not being matched. We're not going to be too revisionist in our look at history here. We all felt Broberg's dollar wasn't right, that it was too much. I think most believed that Holloway was a gamble that they needed to take. Go ahead and match that one. Surprised on that one for sure. And then as far as them not accruing Struds, when they went out and got Klingberg, that basically killed the idea of accruing cap space. They took their shot at the blue line. They weren't going to be accruing a ton anyways because they'd run into some injury issues as well. So it was the original plan. They got off that plan, and now they are where they are.
Yeah, and the John Klingberg, I mean, it was a risk, right? And there's still time in the season for him to find it. The problem is there's no time before the trade deadline. It's the problem. How many games they got for the trade deadline? Rishaug, was it 4 games? 4 games?
1, 2, 3 games. They got Carolina, the Mighty Ducks at home, and the Habs at home, and then the deadline.
So 9 periods. 9 periods for him.
9 periods.
To decide that, for them to decide he's a top 4 defenseman. It feels the timing always felt rushed to me.
Eric Holmland, I thought this was an interesting take. He says, last summer was not good. Lick your wounds and figure out future in the summer. Or the team, as it is, turns around and makes a run. How likely do you think it is that this is a strategy that's being considered, Shager?
So help me understand that, Zuby.
So I'll paraphrase it. Basically, don't do any trades. Just let things ride the way it is now.
And you've got lots you can undo in the summer because Skinner will be off the books. Klingberg will be off the books. Maybe you can trade Arvidsson. Like you can almost have a redo. Yeah. Take the shot with the team you have, and maybe you have a bit of a redo in the summer.
James Neal comes off the books. His contract comes off. Derek Ryan comes off the books.
And the cap's going up.
Yeah.
Philp comes in.
Problem is you do not want a first or second round exit this year. I mean, Connor McDavid's about to make the biggest decision of his, career where he actually has an option. So I think you need to thread the needle of improving this team and giving them a better shot at getting all the way while not absolutely ripping the guts out of your future. So, O'Reilly, you probably don't want to move. You got to be careful about your first rounders, trading too far down the road with these ones. Savoy, because Connor McDavid's going to look at this situation and he's going to look at what's coming as well in part of the calculus about, what does the future look like here? So I don't think doing nothing is right, but you also can't necessarily just shove every chip into the middle and completely strip all the cupboards bare so that it looks dreadful for the next number of years.
Okay. On Savoy, Kilted Zombie says they should have played Savoy tonight. He was one of 3 good Oilers last game. The coach talked about his reason for doing it, but do you guys agree with it? Do you think he would have been helpful in this game tonight, Struddy?
Yeah, I think he creates offense, right? He gets some offense going. I think that's something that they need right now. Bring some speed to the lineup. So honestly, I think I would expect him in the lineup against Carolina. Now someone has to come out, right? So that comes a bit of a challenge. But I've liked what I've seen from Savoy. Again, I think he's a part of the future. I don't know if he's a part of the solution right now. I think that's the difference.
I think the head coach had a philosophy coming into tonight's game, and that was to get back to some familiarity in his lines. And with Savoy, that kind of didn't really work. You wouldn't have been playing him in your top six. He would have been a bottom six forward. I think they wanted to reconstruct that third line to see how it looked. So, yeah, I feel like it would have been great to have him in there, but I also understand why Knobloch made the changes that he made, and he did get a better overall game from his group. So I'm not going to be too critical of it because I know what he was trying to do with his lines.
Stephen Petrick said, what's your thought on the play of Matthias Ekholm in the last 10 games? I know he was sick, but he seems to be struggling. Shagar, what do you think of 14's game?
He needed the break. He needed the Four Nations break. He was sick heading into it. He was sick during it. He's sick coming out of it. The guy can barely talk if you listen to his media availabilities. His minutes are not easy minutes. He grinds. He plays through injury, but he's been getting exposed lately. Quality of his game hasn't been nearly as high. He needed the break. He didn't get it, and his game is struggling, Struds.
I think that's fair. I think it was a long year last year, a long summer or a short summer, and then right back at it. And his game has been off, and just kind of getting beat in plays that he normally doesn't. I don't know how you get him on track. Do you give him a night off? I don't know that a proud player like that's going to want that night off. But
especially
I think
when they're banged up.
Yeah, well, and yeah. So honestly, guys, I truly believe that everyone on the team has a higher gear than maybe 29. I truly believe that. And I think, like I said at the beginning, I'll say it at the end, there's a light at the end of this tunnel, and I think it'll start in Carolina.
Here's the thought for you, buddy. Play him against the Canes, and then don't play him again until the Canadians. So if you give him a break during that Anaheim game, you're only sitting him out against Anaheim, give some other guys a look, and that'll give him a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 day rest. So that might be an opportunity because he needs it.
Agreed.
And what's going on with Nurse? Is he going to miss more than one?
Did anyone recall seeing him go head first, shoulder first into the boards last game? Remember how brutal that was? I was stunned he got up. I was stunned he kept playing. So I'm not at all surprised that you wake up the next morning and are like, yeah, I'm a little jammed up kind of in like this region.
Yeah.
He went face, neck, head first in, Struds.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times you wake up the next day and that's really stiff and it's sore. So I think they said he was day to day. I think you get a couple of massages, loosen that up. I think he might be ready to go. I'm just guessing.
I know there's
next game.
Yeah, there's some nights where I'll push it that extra like 10, 12 minutes on the elliptical. So I kind of know what he's feeling. Like I'll get up the next day and it's like you can tell you just push the hips in a bit of a different way. So I don't blame him. Deserves to let that heal, Struds.
If I can do my Tommy boy, my shoulder doesn't hurt, but my face sure does. Not so much here or here.
Right here.
Joe Dokes, who, by the way, he deserves some credit on the stream. He's like our Florida blommer. Joe in Florida. He's a Panthers fan, and he's been with us since the final last year. And I thought I'd tee this one up, Struddy, for you, because he said, I thought the Edmonton PK suffocated my Panthers successfully tonight. I don't know how much we got into the PK earlier, but Struddy, I know you love. Do you want to give some love to the PK going perfect again tonight?
Yeah, I think, again, it was the first time in a while. I think they give it up. Was it 7 games?
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, not again.
So,
not again.
Yeah, but I mean, they did score, but it was offside.
Yeah.
And everyone loves calling back goals, so I was a huge one. But I think that when things aren't going well, you start to second guess yourself. I thought tonight they were more. I was looking to see this, but they were more direct, straight lines, and more aggressive, trying to stay up on the blue line and really challenge Florida.
Okay, Zuby, let's go one more here. But by the way, people are also wanting to know what your shirt says. We've got a couple requests there on the stream.
Oh yeah, we talked about it earlier. That's
the rest of your shirt.
That's my Run DMC shirt. It's not like a. It's not like some sort of, like I said, bastardization of their logo that's been very commonly reused for other. No, it's my legit Run DMC shirt.
All right.
Oh, only one. Hey, I got a couple good ones still.
Well, go 2 then. That's fine. Go ahead. Struddy can get up early.
Okay, let's. This one's kind of just for Shagar. This is from Paulie. He says, what makes you an insider? Not you, but there was talk of the insiders. What makes someone an insider? How does a media member gain that recognition and that title?
Ooh. Darren Dreger anoints you as such in a strange ceremony filled with all sorts of bizarre initiations. So I want no part of it. No, honestly, I think if you establish yourself as someone who can break news, and you break news consistently, not just on one team but across the board, I think that kind of starts to qualify you as an insider. There are lots of people that can break news on the team that they cover day to day. But it's a lot different to break news across 32 teams. And I think the best insiders, and there's some great ones, right? We've got our amazing guys at TSN with Dregs and LeBrun and CJ over at The Athletic. Then you got Friedman. Frank Saravalli has done a phenomenal job of, sort of pushing his way into that group as well over the years here. So when you're breaking news across the league, you're an insider.
Okay, last one. Back to both of you. This is also from Paulie. He wants to know what unlikely scenario would shock you the most regarding the Oilers trade deadline moves. Kane coming back early, acquiring a goalie, someone being traded we didn't see as a possibility. Of all the things that are kind of being, bounced around, what's the thing that that would really surprise you if they went ahead and did?
I would say a significant trade of a player that we don't view as likely to be traded. Remember, Stan Bowman has come in. He's had some time to evaluate. He does not have the history with these players that the fans in this organization do, and that, in fact, a lot of management would have over. He's coming in with a pretty clean slate here, Struds, and a thought about the future and the big picture. I don't know. He might drop a bomb all of a sudden, just like, boom, out of left field, and I don't know, pick somebody. Bouchard gets dealt, or I don't know. I'm not saying he's going to get traded, but it's his first year here, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, out of left field. For me, it's out of left field. And I think my instinct would say that if it was out of left field, it'd be a hockey trade, not like a dump, right? They're not just going to trade Strudwick for cap space, or just to make room. I think it would be a hockey trade, kind of like what we saw. An example would be Bowen Byram for Casey Middlestat, like a hockey trade.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, that was Ask Us Anything. Great questions on the stream, everybody.
Yeah,
a real solid
really
number tonight, too. So we thank you for joining us on the live stream tonight and your contributions, as always, in Ask Us Anything. All right, time now for our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience, providing modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, implants, and so much more. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com, because that's what you want to see when you go to the dentist, Struds. I want to walk into a place like Gallery Dental, and I want to see fancy looking machines that look like new technology. They're going to make everything okay. Old dental technology, I don't like it. The new stuff, the white machines, the things you've never seen before, that's how they roll at Gallery.
Well, no, and I think they understand someone with soft teeth like yours, what is required, right?
Where is this soft teeth thing? This comes up a few times a year. What have I ever said to make you think my teeth are soft?
You brought it up. You said you don't like hard nuts, and so you like the softer
cashew
nut.
thing.
The cashew.
It goes back to the cashew thing.
The lazy man's
Nothing
nuts.
to do with my soft teeth. Nothing to do with soft teeth, you donkey. All right, Zuby, we got to... You're an idiot.
Yeah, get no respect.
I don't know why I hit that. I'm uncomfortable right now, so I hit the button. Zuby, we got a couple pictures for our plays of the day. Just some stuff we thought was kind of cool. One of them will sting you, Oiler fan. The other one you will like. How about this look, Struds? Love it.
Love it. I love the no helmets, too. No one's got a helmet on. We got to bring that back. We got to see the no helmets. No one gets hurt very often in warm-up.
Yeah, Halsey. Hey, Halsey.
Yeah.
No one. Darnell Nurse. No, it never happens.
Halsey's in the picture there. That's him just behind.
Oh, it is, too.
Oh, is he? There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are sharp looking. My goodness. Green. You got to love the dynamite green. Holy smokes. I can just picture Ray Ferraro blazing around. All right, Zuby, and let's hurt the people with the other one. You got it?
Don't
moment tonight.
Don't.
Philip Broberg goes airborne, scoring a beautiful goal. And it got a little bit quiet, but the great season picking up again here for Philip Broberg. Good night for him, Holloway. And as Brownie pointed out in Brownie Points, the whole Edmonton contingent there on the St. Louis Blues. All right, that'll wrap it. Good solid show tonight. We covered lots of ground. This McDavid thing, Struds, it's going to be interesting to monitor here where he's yet to go nuclear here. Like McDavid has yet, back half of the season, he's always so good. I feel like he needs a goal. Like, can Connor McDavid score more goals than any other player in the league between now and the end of the season?
Well, he can do anything.
I think Wouldn't you love to see him try that?
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against him. I think that, but it's I think that the play of the team right now is weighing on him, and others have to also pick it up as well, right, around him to make it a little bit easier for him to do what he does.
You know what that feels like, hey, Struddy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, every second night, Zoops.
Well played, sir. Well played. By the way, nice job on Struddy's World yesterday, guys. Look forward to next week's. You're through 2 episodes so far. I have to say the chemistry is pretty good. Work ethic has been good. So far, so good.
That's so tight. Like Cher and Sonny. Just tight.
And I thought, this week's show was easily one of our 2 best of all time. So.
Yeah, that's well said. If anybody hasn't seen yet, like and subscribe. Struddy's World has its own podcast feed. So go to your preferred pod platform, search Struddy's World, and you will see the guys in their show. It drops live from 12 to 1 on Wednesdays, and then available in podcast form as well. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. We will chat in a couple of days after the Oilers take on the Canes. See you then.